What's going on, guys? I am back with another deck profile today. We're going to be looking at Fire King Pure. This is going to be currently TCG legal. We're going to be looking at everything that I would put into it. Or, I mean, if I wasn't looking to get into the Sinful Spoil and the Tri-Brigade stuff, because those are the other builds, and the Dogmatica stuff. So, I truly do recommend that you get into those things. Because they are very good. They're very good variants of the deck. But if you just want to play Fire King Pure, to each his own, this is how I would build it. So we're going to start off with three Fire Formation Tenki. Consistency piece, it adds your Arvada, it adds Rangbali, and it adds Barang. So three pretty essential combo pieces. Next, we're going to be going into Prosperity. You need the consistency because you only have 3 1-card starters plus a 1-for-1 to get into it. So you need another way to get into it. So this gives you kind of like 7 1-card starters because Prosperity is most likely going to get you into your full combo somehow. This deck does have a lot of consistency naturally, especially because we're playing 1-for-1, 3 Ponics, and 3 Garunics. Typically, I would only play 2 Garunics, but because you're really looking for the consistency in this deck, we need the Garunics. 3 Kieran. This is pretty self-explanatory. This is like the best Fire King in the deck, besides maybe Garunics, but Garunics is so recurable that you kind of don't want it at 3. But Kieran, you want it at 3 because it's useful everywhere. It's useful in the hand, it's useful in the grave, it's useful, it's useful in the deck, it's useful everywhere. So you really want it. Even drawing 2 copies is not bad because you can use it to destroy the other, and then that allows you to use its grave effect at the same time. So yeah, then we have 3 Arvada. It's a really good combo piece. The best combo pieces are 1 Ponix, 2 Garunix, 3 Kieran. Arvada is next. It's the monster negate for the deck. It's pretty good. Helps you play around hand traps, but it's actually a little more useful in this version of the deck because you get access to your Ponix a little less, and you get more access to your Garunix plus Sanctuary or Kieran plus Sanctuary or something like that. But yeah. Then we have our Rangbali spell trap negate. You kind of need it to play around evenly with certain hands, so I highly recommend playing it at least 1. It actually deals with a lot of problems that the deck has, so don't underestimate it. It is very bricky, but you do need it in a lot of situations, so keep it in the deck. Barang at 2. Typically this is at 1, but because we need the consistency, this is a consistency piece. It would be next after Arvada in terms of how good it is. And then we have the Circle of the Fire Kings. It's another consistency piece, but it's also good to draw if you have full combo because it gets your Runics into the grave. It also gets you to special summon your Arvada or your Hanuman or your Rangbali or something like that. So yeah, keep that in mind. It also triggers your Garunix in the grave if it's already in the grave. So very good card, consistency piece, very good going first. But going second, there's a clear winner, and that's going to be the Skyburn. So this card is very good. Going second, it's very good. Going first, it's very good. You don't necessarily want to see it in your hand. You kind of want to search it. That's why we have it at 1. Circle, you kind of want to see it in your hand because it furthers your combos. But Fire King, Skyburn, you don't necessarily want to see it in your hand. You want to search into it when you need it. Good against back row decks. Yeah, nothing much else to say. It can protect your Fire King cards if they would be destroyed. So yeah, not much else to say. Let's move on to the next one, which is Sanctuary. This is the Field Spell Searcher / Xyz Creator. Yeah, you can Xyz on your opponent's turn using this card. It's cracked. It's so cracked. It searches you the field spell, which is also extremely good. The only reason it's not better than the Sanctuary is because it doesn't allow you to Xyz on your opponent's turn. and it's extremely easy to get the XCs set up. So yeah, we run that at 2. It's kind of bricky because it doesn't get you to Sanctuary, but the reverse is true. So keep that in mind, but yeah, Fire King Island at 2, very necessary for the deck. Then we have our interruptions. We have our 3 Droll and Lockbird. It comes with the structure deck. It's a very good card in the meta. Highly recommend you use it at 3, especially if you're on a budget. Ash at 3. No matter what budget you're on, I highly recommend buying this card. It is extremely good in the meta and probably always will be. It'll probably always be the best hand trap in the meta until it gets hit on the ban list somehow, and I doubt that'll happen. So yeah. Next we have Infinite Impermanence. This is probably the second best hand trap in the game, and it comes in the structure deck, so no point in not using it. Might as well use it. It negates your opponent's cards. Be careful using it against certain decks because certain decks can actually get rid of the monster on the board. That way the negation doesn't go through. But nonetheless, it's an insane card. It can be used for board breaking. It can be used as a hand trap on your opponent's turn. It can be used as a set trap to negate your opponent's spells and traps as well. So very, very good card. Highly recommend keeping it in the deck at 3. Then we have our Called by the Grave. Hand traps do hurt this deck. If you can afford 3 crossout, I would take out probably a Droll, an Imperm, and a Circle for 3 crossouts. That way you just have more consistency when you do draw your combo pieces. But for now, we'll go with the Called by, assuming that you're on a somewhat budget. Next, we have our 2 Xyz, our 2 Fire King Xyz. Nothing much to say. They're pretty much necessary for most of your combos. They're the heart and soul of this version of the deck, and you need them. You could even play them at 3, to be honest. If you can't afford this Zeus or you don't have this Zeus, play him at 3. That's what I would recommend. And you have Dingirsu. He's really cheap, very good for decks that you're weak against. Because there are a lot of decks that you're weak against because of all the destruction, and a lot of decks do like the destruction. So, for example, in the mirror match, Dingirsu is better than Ruinix Eternity. So, yeah, Underworld Goddess. If you would like to, well, we have the Zeus, I guess, first. If you would like to replace this, like I said, replace it with another Ruinix Eternity. Then we have Underworld Goddess. Similar thing, you could replace this with like a Boral Sword Dragon or a Boral Load Dragon, something like that. So yeah. Then we have Amblo Whale. This almost never comes up. It's basically prosperity fodder. You could change it for anything else. Then we have Anima. Very good going second. Opponents do start to slip up because Anima hasn't been in the meta recently. So now that it's going into the meta, people are starting to remember. But people still slip up. I even slip up, and I play the deck. So, yeah. Link Karibo, necessary for combos. If it wasn't, I wouldn't play it. Almirage, necessary for combos. If it wasn't, I wouldn't play it. Sunlight Wolf, necessary for combos. I would play it even if it wasn't necessary for combos, because it's extremely good. It can recycle your Ash. It can recycle any Fire Kings. So, yeah. Very good card. Adds fires back from the grave to the hand, so helps you recycle Ash. It's insane. Heat Soul, very, very good card. Allows you to draw on your turn and on your opponent's turn, and it has a hidden effect, so don't forget about that. So next we go on to Hita. We're in a fire meta. Hita is extremely good going second. If you happen to go second and your opponent leaves some type of fire interruption in the grave, such as Arvada, you can steal that, or let's say they have like an Amblo Whale in the grave or something like that. You can steal that. So yeah, keep that in mind. Then we'll go IP Masquerena. Very good generic Link 2 that allows you to get into either Pit Knight early, which is basically a monster negate or an Imperm, when something that it points to activates its effect. Then we have Appaloosa, which is basically something that you use IP to get into to give you 2 or 3 negates. So yeah, that's going to be the extra deck. Then we'll go into the side deck. We have 2 Nibiru. It's a budget card. It's an extremely good card, good in the meta. Sometimes it's unexpected. So, very good card. Play it if you can. 3 triple tactic talents. Just got a reprint, so it should be pretty affordable. And it's a very good card. Highly recommend you use it. You can use it to steal your opponent's cards. You can use it to draw cards. You can use it to hand loop your opponent for 1. It's pretty crazy. So highly recommend you play it, and I highly recommend you side it in basically every single game going second. Cosmic Cyclone, it's good in the meta. There's certain decks that lose to it, such as like back row decks, Runic, things like that. Even Fire King loses to it because you can hit the island and then destroy everything on your opponent's board. So pretty good card, highly recommend. And we have Evenly Matched, another very good board breaker, something like Cosmic, but it's even better against almost everything in the meta. It got a reprint recently. It should be extremely cheap. Highly recommend you guys pick this up and use it. Not much to say there. Solemn Judgment came in the structure deck. Extremely good card. This card is so underrated. In fact, I would probably take out 1 Droll and put in 1 Solemn Judgment. Because when that card comes out, it feels like it does so much. And yes, it hurts in time, but if you're playing this deck, you're not going into time. You're either absolutely wiping your opponent, or you're probably getting absolutely wiped. So yeah, next card we have is Dimensional Barrier. Extremely good in the meta, extremely good against certain decks that this deck struggles against, such as like fusion decks and even things like Exosister, Xyz decks, things like that. So very good card, very good card, and some decks turns. So yeah, that's gonna be this deck profile. If you guys liked it, like and subscribe, and I'm out. Peace.